I'll get you on one more thing. You're a former mayor of San Francisco. We just saw 3 members of the San Francisco School Board recalled by overwhelming majorities. Your reaction to that?
Nothing surprising about it. I mean, in every way, shape, or form, that could have happened 20 years ago for the same reasons. They weren't focused on what they should have been focused on. It wasn't just changing names of school, including Dianne Feinstein. But it was also focusing on murals at a time when everybody was focused on their kids and getting them safely back in in-person instruction. So there was a tone deafness at the time, and they doubled down on it. And then there was a component that's not been well shared. One member of the school board said some insensitive things that were very particularly insensitive against the Asian community. And I'll just tell you, as a former mayor who was elected disproportionately because of the support of the Asian community, that was the end of their time and tenure on that school board. I think we can overread this from a national prism. It's a very familiar San Francisco story. West Side, East Side, very familiar tenets that I think one should be cautious in terms of overreading.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because there are people who are looking at what happened in San Francisco earlier, what happened in the Virginia governor's race, that, excuse me, that Democrats or progressives can overreach and can do things that are detrimental to the party. What's your message to the Democratic Party, to Democrats on this issue? There's no other way to talk about it, because that's the way everyone's talking about it. Wokeness.
Look, I don't know. I mean, I was sitting there in 2004 marrying same-sex couples from 46 states and 6 countries for over 4,000 couples. Is that the definition of wokeness? I thought it was the right thing to do, to celebrate our interesting differences, unite around the things that bind us together. I don't know how one defines it. I know how one politicizes this. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, talk about just the extreme with the absurdities that are going on in the CPAC early primary poll, which is all things Texas and Florida right now, and what's happening on the Can't Say Gay bill, and what's happening on this I mean, it's just absurd what's going on the far right on this, and it's all part of the culture war. And if it's not this, it will be something else tomorrow. That said, at the end of the day, if you are focused more on renaming things than focusing on fundamentally getting to the nuts and bolts of the job that you were hired to do, that's a problem in any time or in anyone's experience. And so that at the moment obviously gins up a lot of anxiety. But look, we had a playbook. Everyone said, well, California, the recall defeat. That's the approach. Then all of a sudden, no, 2 weeks later, hey, no, it's the Youngkin approach. And then, no, wait, San Francisco. I think we all need to be a little cautious at this moment, recognize what we're up against, which is mishigash, which is full-time propaganda coming from a disciplined, far extreme right that will continue to racially prime, continue to promote these cultural wars in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they're banning books. I mean, you can't make this up. I mean, you can't make up the moment we're living in. But that requires us to change course, to adjust our sails and address these things a little bit more head-on, a little bit more formally and forcefully. And not on no longer on the receiving end of their terms, but now moreover on their terms. And that's what we're doing on guns. That's what we're doing on a series of other issues. We're leaning in. And again, I'm not naive to their success, but it's an old playbook here. And so let's not all act surprised as Democrats and victims around this. We know how to work around it. Let's own our responsibility to do more and be better, because the American people need us. Can't allow these guys to win. We can't. Our kids can't afford it. Quite literally, their lives are at stake. So it's a serious moment. Serious people are still out there fighting the good fight. We're going to get through this.
Governor Gavin Newsom of the great state of California, thank you very, very much for coming to the Sunday Show.
Great to be with you.